What's up, everybody? I am DJ Kazzeo, and welcome to Talkin All That Kazz. Now, what is Talkin All That Kazz? Real quick, breaking it down, before I even get to that, let me tell you this. You want to know anything, you want to connect with me on social media, go to this address right here, www.djkazzeo.com, alright? All my stuff's up there. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff is up there, okay? Now, for 27 years, over 27 years, I've been hosting a weekly radio show here at 90.9 FM KHTC in Salinas, California. Every one of the shows I've ever done that's in my library is now online. You can go to this address right here, mixcloud.com/DJ_Kazzeo to hear all the shows, all the music, all the interviews, everything. Okay? Now, speaking of interviews, maybe you don't have the time to go to Mixcloud and listen to the full shows, because there's thousands of hours of stuff to listen to. If that's the case, this is what Talkin All That Kazz is for. I've isolated all the interviews, taken the interview clips, put them in video form, and I'm posting them up here on YouTube for you guys to check out in a shorter time, alright? So you can just go, pick out whatever interview you want to check out, and here it is, okay? So, without further ado, let's see what I got in store for you this time around.
Absolutely, right here. It's 90.9 FM KHTC Radio Bilingüe, Santa Cruz and Monterey counties, 104.1 FM if you're out in San Benito County. Yours truly, Kazzeo, in the building, as I am every single Wednesday night, bringing it to you live and direct, 2 hours of hip-hop. But it wouldn't be 2 hours of hip-hop if I didn't sprinkle in some interviews. And I'm joined right now by a friend of mine from way back. Santa Cruz original. He goes by the name James One, a.k.a., well, I'm not even going to say a.k.a. because I don't want to give out your government name. But James, man, welcome back to the show. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm good, Kazzeo. Good to hear from you.
Likewise, man. So, before we get anything into, the heart of the conversation, I really want to thank you for taking the time unsolicited to come up with the new logo designs for my radio shows. I really appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Least I can do.
It was awesome, man. I came home and there was like an email, or I can't remember if it was an email or a direct message, and it was like, hey, I got some designs for you. You want to check them out? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then lo and behold, man, James came through like a champ that I never knew I had in my corner. So I appreciate it, bro. I really do.
Yeah, no problem.
So a couple weeks ago, the world basically found out about the recent passing of MF Doom, and you reached out to me while I was here at the station. You were like, hey, I did some work with Doom. Would you like to have me on to talk about it? And I thought, absolutely, man. MF Doom really had a really strong following. Maybe not the most like household name in hip hop, but he was similar to like Atmosphere and Rhyme Sayers, and those guys were like, he just had a huge underground following. So, I mean, take me through the process. How did you connect with Doom, and how did, everything go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably '02, and, I think I moved to LA in '98, and, I worked at like a startup at the time, and we interviewed a lot of local hip hop people for the show that I was like a producer on, and it was just at one week after another. We would meet Gangstar, we'd meet Exhibit, we'd meet Defar. I mean, it was just one after another. We met Peanut Butter Wolf, and and then hey, Cutmaster Kurt, yeah, like, yeah, Kurt engineered the Quasimodo record, so he had a relationship with Kurt. Kurt and I go back to '84, '85, as you well know.
Yep.
So I just got an email correspondence with Chris, Peanut Butter Wolf, and I think they had just done the J Dilla and Madlib record, and I just said, hey, I just want to work with Madlib. Anything. If you got something you want to do a music video for, let me know. And he said, oh, he's actually recording a record with Doom as we speak. And they were doing Money Folder. She said, well, we do a video for Money Folder. Oh, great. So I went over there and met up with those guys and showed them like my idea, and they were just like, yeah, this is great. And this is like the early enough days of Stone Throw where they all had a house together. It was Madlib, Egon, Jeff Jank, and Peanut Butter Wolf
as
roommates. And so you go over there, it would be like a frat house almost.
That was, I believe that was over, was it in Northridge or Granada Hills?
No, Washington, there was Mount Washington.
Oh, okay.
Right above Highland Park where the offices are now, but it was in a house, so I went over there. And then, we just gelled, and so it was one of these like kind of dream projects, and I was working at a studio, an animation studio at the time on like a Disney. We were doing like an animation for a Disney series, and I just quit my job. I was like, you know what, I could stay in this avenue and just work for studios and go from show to show, or I can just kind of do these projects that I own and basically just do myself, and then hire friends. And my girlfriend helped me out with All Caps at the time, but and 3 months later I delivered it. I wasn't sure what they were going to think, and they were just totally floored by it. No way, this is awesome. And then it just went from there. So and that just, it opened so many doors for me. It was insane. So
working with Doom, was it was it the kind of thing like where you would come up with ideas and present them, or did you guys collaborate and come up together with stuff?
We had like we had one conversation, and I think like you do work for different clients, and sometimes they kind of get the idea, sometimes they don't, and they just trust you to do it. But Doom was like, I kind of explained it. I showed him kind of the references, these old Marvel, these really cheesy Marvel animations from the 60s that they did that were really, really low budget.
Right.
I showed him those, and he was like, yes. He's like, you have to do it just like that. But he was like, I totally know what you're going to do. And so getting that kind of enthusiasm from an artist is always great, because then you get excited. And so that was really it. Other than that, he was really hands-off. Chris, Peanut Butter Wolf, super hands-off. He's like, you do your thing, and I trust that you're going to do a good job. So that's how the involvement with them was, and still is. I still work with those guys, so it's a really great relationship.
That's like kind of like the ideal situation. It's like, okay, just let me do my thing, and you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We'll do something different. But so in total, how many projects did you actually do with MF Doom?
It was from there, I think. The next one was the Danger Doom, the thing he did with Danger Mouse for Epitaph Records, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and I think that was, well, it was for Epitaph, but it was more for Cartoon Network. They had kind of funded it, and so that one, and then it was, I think, B-Ball Zombie War, and then it was the action figures, obviously, and then Czarface called like about 2-3 years ago and said, hey, we're going to do a project with Doom too. Love you to do it. So I worked with the Czarface guys, who are, again, awesome, just, totally the same. They were all in the same lane as far as that one goes. And then, we were actually starting another Doom project recently, and then we got the news. Like, oh, shit. Oh, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. So expletive deleted. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, and for those who like want to check out all this work, everything is on YouTube, right?
It's YouTube. You can go to tfustudios.com. That's kind of that's where a lot of the stuff is that you can see, the kind of the making of, and then the projects themselves. Yeah. I
always wondered, what does TFU stand for?
A lot of things. It was a graffiti crew that. It was kind of like I had been in a bunch of graffiti crews like back in the 80s, and I just wanted to do something that was like just me. There was no other members, and it was just kind of a random thing, and I just thought it'd be funny. And so I just called it that, and then Cool Keith and Cutmaster Kurt came to me with the We All Over video.
Right.
And I said, well, this could be done by my studio, TFU Studios. So people start calling you and saying, what's the name we should put on this? I thought, TFU Studios, there you go. And then next thing you know, it's like anything else. People start calling you that, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me. I'm fascinated by like origin stories, and I always wondered, because I remember, I mean, not entirely clearly, but just like vaguely, I remember walking into Club Culture, and there were tables there in the front.
Yeah.
And there was a kid there with a scratch pad, an art pad, working on artwork, and he was part of the USA Bombers, I believe, at the time. And I believe that was you, right?
Yeah, it was me. That was our old crew back in junior high, freshman year. That was like the first graffiti crew that I was in, and we lasted about a year, and we got, we had the beef, we had the rivalry, we had the, the friendly competition, the whole bit, and I wrote a book about it called 1985. It kind of documents the whole, so it's a graphic novel, documents that whole year. But yeah, that was the graffiti crew. It was, it was quite an experience. It was, I recommend it.
It's actually, it's a very well received, very acclaimed. I believe is there 10 volumes of 1985?
There was 8 altogether, and
Okay.
they are now in like an anthology. So I put them all together like in a big novel. So there's like about 400 pages or something.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Where did the connection with your artistic side come from? I mean, did you know from a young age, or was it something that developed as you got being a teenager, or how did it happen?
I think it's something you do. People encourage you. People say, "Hey, that's pretty cool," and then you do it. And I think it's just like anything else. It's a muscle that you have to kind of flex. I mean, I have to draw every day to this day. I've been doing this for so long. I have to draw every day, otherwise you lose it. So, and it's a thing you just keep with, and you just keep doing it. And there's the people who keep doing it, and there's the people who stop. And I just kept going. And I think that graffiti, when I first got into it, it was the first thing that someone said, "Hey, you're good at that." And then when someone tells you that, you're like, "Oh, this is the thing I'm good at." Okay. And I think that once someone says that, it's like, you're a marathon runner, you're good at this, and then, you're that, you become that thing.
Right.
And that was always like my connection. I mean, I don't necessarily paint anymore unless someone comes and invites me or something, but it'll always be a big part of my life. I mean, I think like that was my art school, because I didn't go to art school. I mean, that was my art school.
It's just natural talent.
Well, I wouldn't say, look, I wouldn't say it's talent. I think it really is, again, it's a muscle you have to flex.
Right.
Look, there's people who drew amazingly and then stop when they were 25, and then 20 years later, you look at their stuff, you go, wow, it looks like you stopped 20 years ago. And then there's the people that just, like I said, it's like an exercise. You keep going, and you really have to be on top of it, because it can slip away.
Well, one of the things too, and this is really it fascinates me, and I check it like daily. You put together this page on Instagram called Santa Cruz Graffiti Archive.
Yeah.
And like back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, whatever, I knew all those names, and I knew a few of the kids, but I never really knew exactly the full extent of what they were doing. And I look at Santa Cruz Graffiti Archive on Instagram, and I'm like, wow, there was like a lot of stuff going on that I just, didn't see, whether because I was out, doing music or, whatever the case may be. So
yeah.
When did you come up with the idea to put that page together to really spotlight that era?
I mean, I think Daniel and I had talked about it, and I had built this website a few years ago that was going to be using Google Maps. It was going to put Google Maps all the graffiti that I had in Santa Cruz, photos of, and do them by location on a Google map. And you could go through the years, and go back in time or whatever, and you'd see a wall, and you'd see it through the. And I had built this whole thing. I hired these developers, and it still got a lot of bugs. But then I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start this Instagram page and put a lot of the imagery up. I had all these thousands of photos, and I thought, well, I really want to share these.
Mm-hmm.
So I put them up, and then it just kind of, all of a sudden, people start contacting me and start sending me photos, and I mean, it's just great. It's great to see that everyone comes out of the woodwork and says, "Hey, put these up," and I'm like, absolutely, and because I was worried we were going to run out.
Right.
And I'm always like, it's only so many photos, guys, but it starts to become a thing that it showcases, I think, all the amazing artists who've come out of that area and who are still there. And I don't see anybody else doing it. It's like I got to put these up, so that's why.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because I mean, obviously, I know Tropic, I know you, I knew
Yeah.
Tosh. I had met Heist and Raucous, here and there in the downtown scene in the early '90s, but
Right.
I never knew exactly. I never saw their. Of course, like if I'm driving on the freeway, I would see their their throw ups or their burners, but I would never see like the underneath like pipes and wall, that kind of stuff. So to see that now, I'm like, wow, it was a whole nother world I knew nothing about.
Yeah, it was our life for a little while there. I mean, in the late '80s, I felt like I was the only, kind of felt like I was the only guy in that area at least. And it got lonely, but I mean, you're like, oh, I love this. I'm going to keep doing it. And the next thing you know, people start popping up. And when those guys, Ice and Rockets especially, and then Temp came down.
Right, yeah, Temp.
It lit a fire. It was like, no, it's like, you either stop doing it or catch up.
Right.
I think it's especially Temp really leveled everybody up. I mean, it was such an influence. It was kind of like the circus came to town. And it was like there was before Temp and then after Temp.
Yeah.
That's how I look at that era,
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. The Instagram page is Santa Cruz Graffiti Archive. Make sure you go check that out and you hit a follow on that. As far as TFU Studios, is it tfustudios.com?
Yeah, tfustudios.com. There's the Instagram at TFU Studios. A lot of stuff up there. Yeah, that's basically it.
And you don't do like Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I don't have time. I have to kind of pick my battles and do everything else I need to do. So the social media stuff, it's kind of it gets the love where it's at. But yeah,
right. And real quick, what do you any projects coming up to look forward to?
Yeah, actually, there's a bunch. Another possible Doom project. I mean, we had been talking about it before. Like last year, but looks like there might be another Mad Villain project coming up. Still kind of getting the details on that, but possibly another Czarface. A lot of exciting stuff in the works.
And let's not just pigeonhole you into like these, cult underground hip hop acts. You also have worked with Nike. You work with Serena Williams. You've done some pretty big time stuff.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's been all over the place. Biz and I have had a relationship for a while. I hope, hopefully his health is improving. But it even led to a Wu-Tang graphic novel that
that's right.
Got shelved, but I actually have copies.
There's like the test presses that are in your vault.
No, you know what? I made 10 of these copies when I finally had all the artwork. I made 10 of them, and then I gave a few away to people who would help me and everything else. And then I found one on eBay. I was like, I got to take that down because I signed a waiver saying, hey, I can't sell these, blah 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 blah. And so someone was trying to sell it on eBay, and the guy took it down.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy, but it was fun. They were great, super great guys to work with too, man. It was amazing.
Well, bro, man, I can't tell you, man. I'm very proud of your achievements. I'm proud to say I went to high school with this guy. He was a couple years older, but I definitely have a connection. So I'm very proud of that fact. And man, I wish you nothing but the best, man.
Yeah, thanks, Kazzeo. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on here, and thank you for holding it up in the Central Valley, man.
Trying to do what I have to do, man. Sometimes I absolutely feel like the last man standing out here. Cooley B's gone, you're gone, Kurt's gone. I'm like the last man from the '80s here, still doing it. But
right.
But I definitely have to say King Caesar B's back in town, so I can rely on him sometimes.
There you go.
But again, man, thank you so much for calling in tonight. And we'll definitely be in continuous contact as we are on Instagram and social media and all that good stuff. And man, James One, the legend, Santa Cruz legend, man. Thanks so much for calling in tonight, man.
You got it. Take care.
All right, peace.